Okay, we're back. Haven't recorded a video in a couple of months. Haven't played chess since March, and thought I could get back into both of them. And my friend Matt wanted to play a game, so here we go. Yeah, I was taking a break for a couple of months. I played a game against a guy a few months ago and lost, and then it turns out he was cheating. And I clicked on his profile and learned he was a priest in Galveston, Texas. Which, if you don't know anything about Galveston, Texas is famous for its priests who cheat at chess. So I was pretty annoyed by that for a while, and wasn't really playing great because, I thought priests weren't allowed to cheat at chess. That was like one of the big three things in the Bible. Not allowed to cheat at chess, not allowed to look at someone else's wife, not allowed to stab someone or whatever. I was thinking about playing Alekhine's defense, knight f6, because I don't know it that well. And then if I lose, I can just use that as an excuse for why I lost. So let's do that, and that's a fun tip for you guys out there. But yeah, so this priest, this man of the cloth, cheated at chess to beat me. And I was pretty annoyed because, again, I'm pretty sure that's illegal for priests to do. Um, if he's in charge of like all these people's lives, he shouldn't also be cheating at chess. So I ended up calling his church to try and talk to him, which my friends tell me is a completely sane and rational thing to do. Calling and harassing a priest for cheating at chess. And so I called him up and I got him on the phone. And he started off by saying he didn't really know that much about chess. And then I was like, your photo and your name is on your profile. And it's the same as knight c3. So usually if they don't push this pawn to e5, which is the main move of Alekhine's, it's supposed to strike in the center and just like liquidate everything. So it'll be like take, 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 and then black should be fine. So yeah, I called this priest up and we were like going back and forth, and then he like broke down and apologized, and he was like telling me he was sorry. And I was like, you're like a priest, like you shouldn't be doing this type of stuff. And then he got like super defensive, so me and him started like yelling at each other on the phone. And then my roommate came in and it's like, are you yelling at a priest on the phone? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, why? And I'm like, because of chess. And he's like, maybe you should take like a break from chess, because if it gets to the point where you're yelling at clergymen, then it's like just a game, you know. Queen f3. That's weird. Now I gotta figure out. I mean, I could still just like take everything, like take on e4, right? So let's calculate that. If I take on e4, he takes back. I take back. He takes with the queen. Maybe I just keep developing. I guess knight c6 is natural, and then seems like black is fine. Do we have anything better? Push, push, take, take. That's gonna just be the same thing. I guess take. I could take with check first, but maybe bishop f4. That's a consideration. Attack the queen, because if he moves, then I can put the pressure on with d4. So like if he moves there, I'll just fork. So he's not gonna move there. I mean, I guess I could take and just liquidate everything too, but that doesn't make any sense. You're dropping the fork. I guess if I fork, he'll just push, yeah. So, take, take, take. That's a slow arrow. Doesn't really get me anything. If I take first, it's just the same thing, a different order. I don't think bishop f4 is right, but it seems active. And we're kind of rusty. This is guarding that. Alright, so anyway, I hung up. I was pretty angry at this priest, and yeah, we're just gonna do this. So I was angry at this priest, and I live next to a church in New York City. So I went to confession, and I asked the priest guy there. I was like, "Are you allowed to cheat at chess?" And he was like, "Are you Catholic?" Which I guess I like came into confession wrong or whatever, and I was like, "No." And he's like, "You're not allowed to be in confession if you're not Catholic." And I'm like, "That's not a rule." He's like, "That's a rule." And so I was like in an argument with him in confession over whether or not I was allowed to be in confession. And then I left that, and then I was like, I've been in an argument with two different priests today over chess, so I'm gonna take a break. So we took a break, and now we're back, trying not to get into an argument with like any rabbis or Scientology church leaders or whatever. Um, and yeah, got a couple of nice messages from people over the hiatus. You know, some people like this guy Ron was real nice, telling me to make videos again. Another guy Evan, same thing. Still get 4 to 5 messages a day from people. Not a day, a week from people saying that they're gonna beat me at chess and sleep with my wife, which is we brought up in another video. But again, I am not married, have never been married, and I would appreciate it if you would all stop DMing me saying you're going to sleep with my wife. Whenever my friends, take my phone, do puzzles or something on chess.com, they're like, "You have a lot of messages from people saying that they're going to sleep with your wife." And I'm like, it's mostly just 14-year-olds in America and Indian men that are saying that. So, it's kind of out of my control. But if we could stop that, that would be fantastic. Um, yeah, so that's pretty much what's been going on in my life. You know, kind of in a chess war with the Catholic Church, and then, just ignoring 14-year-olds who say they're going to sleep with my wife. But I feel like that's a pretty normal life for someone living in New York City. Okay, so if I push or take, those are two of the things I'm considering. Um, hmm. Yeah, we're already wasting a little bit of time complaining about the church. But again, a good rule of thumb for you guys playing chess is confirm whether or not your opponent works for the church before uh, you play them. So if I liquidate everything there, the bishop hangs at the end, so can't do that. Just sit down with your opponent, shake hands, be like, "You're not a priest, are you?" And yeah, so I'm just going to take, and then he will take back, and then I think I'm giving something up a little bit in this opening, but black's gonna be fine. Take, 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 kind of mess up my pawn structure. A check there, and then I'll block with the bishop, and then I'll have a lot of pieces out, and he won't. So I'm gonna trade the pawn structure for having more pieces out, I think. Take another drink of coffee. I decided to start drinking coffee at night, so it would make it harder for me to go to sleep, so I could just ruin my life even more. And yeah, what else has been going on in my life? I went on a couple dates with a girl earlier in the quarantine, which I don't know, guys, if you guys are following the news still, but there's like this pandemic thing happening. Um, so if he takes, if I just put that there, then yeah, I went on a couple dates with the girl, and then like on our third or fourth date, she showed up wearing a tank top, and she had like a swastika tattoo on her arm. So I don't know how you guys do dating, but as someone who's almost 30 in New York City, I feel like swastika tattoos are kind of a deal breaker. So I stopped seeing that girl. Bishop out. Putting a lot of pressure on f7. So he eventually wants to get rid of the knight to checkmate there. So He's going to take, and if I take back, it's checkmate. So part of me wants to defend either with bishop h5 or maybe e6. Just c1 move ahead. This is a pretty common attack you get out of people rated like under 1200, 1300. But you still got to be careful. You can't just be on autopilot. So again, bishop h5 or e6, top considerations. I could ignore it and just keep developing, but I feel like I don't want to calculate and be lazy. So another move is to just do what I said. Queen up, maybe try to trade queens. And then I went on another date with the girl who she picked an oyster bar. So we went there. I got there early. I ordered some oysters. I ordered like 20 oysters. Over there takes, and she got there a couple minutes late and then told me she doesn't like oysters. She just likes the bar. So this girl watched me eat 20 oysters in like an hour. And then afterwards I didn't feel that great. So that date didn't go well either. We're just going to do e6 and just not have to worry about this checkmate on f7. But yeah, otherwise, that's what's been going on in my life. Feel free to leave a comment down below about the worst dates you've ever been on, or maybe, Nazis you've run into in your adult life. So if he takes, I just need to be careful, because if I take back with the knight, the bishop is going to be hanging at the end. I could just give up the pawn, and then that pawn on c2 could be snatched. Because I am up a pawn, so I don't really care if I drop it as long as I have a lot of pieces out. It's a good tip for y'all. Initiative over like a pawn. I could be down 2-3 pawns and still would maybe be ahead in this position if I can get all my pieces out. Bishop d6 also looks super tempting to just get a piece out, get a tempo on that queen, kick it around. So that's also what I'm thinking. So yeah, we're at 5 minutes, and I guess when I say it like that, it sounds kind of psychotic. I'm getting into arguments with priests and accidentally dating neo-Nazis, but, that's what chess is all about. I think if any of your other chess friends or chess coaches haven't accidentally dated a Nazi once, then, are they really into chess that much? Let me take a sip of coffee. So he takes, and I'm just going to try and speed up because I'm getting a little lower on time. Give up the pawn. If he takes the knight, I could just take back with the queen. I guess that drops the pawn on c7, doesn't it? But I guess I'd pick up the pawn on... No, that'd be bad. So I might have to take back with the pawn. I might have messed that up. Take back with the pawn, because if I take with the queen, he takes on c7. Yeah, so I'm going to take with the pawn, and that means I got to castle queenside. And I am out of coffee. It probably messed up this opening a little bit, which, again, I'm going to blame on that priest, but I feel like I'm in a better positive mindset now that I'm back to playing chess and not super worried about the priest. I'm going to just develop, I think. Yeah. Because now we got to get all our pieces out to castle queenside. It just, it feels like if your job is you give advice to people and you tell them how to lead your lives, you shouldn't also be cheating at chess. And again, now I'm going to be looking for either queen d7 or bishop e6 to get a tempo on that queen, kick it around. He castles. I'm going to finish developing. And yeah, black's pawn structure is a little messed up, but I kind of like black because all my pieces are out and I'm about to castle. He still needs to play like d4 and then figure out what to do with that bishop. Maybe even like fianchetto it to attack that pawn on f6. Can't move that because I'll lose that. Yeah. Got a nice open line here, open file to maybe get an attack down the g file. So my idea right now is queen over, castles, and that. Not in that order, but that's what I'm going to go for. So he's dropping this pawn on c2, but I might not want to take it for now because I want to finish getting developed. But maybe I'll take it. I'm just worried, like my opponent, not mad, but I'll click on someone's profile and it'll be like Rabbi from Indiana, and I'll be like, I'm not playing that guy. That guy's gonna cheat. Scientologist leader from. I'm just gonna take it. I'm gonna be greedy. He's only got 3.5 minutes left to figure it out. If he kicks the pawn down there, does that trap my bishop? D3, bishop A4, B3, bishop B5. No, because I guess I could. No, that might trap it. I also don't want to calculate that either. Man, I'm so rusty. Every time he does something, I'm like, I don't want to calculate everything. Which, if you like chess, that's probably the worst attitude to have. Do I need to move my bishop before it gets trapped? I think. Reasonably sure. That might have been a mistake to take that pawn, but now we're up a pawn again. We've ruined his pawn structure now. Knight h4, which maybe I can move it back to have him fix my pawn structure. I would trade that bishop to... I can't draw arrows. Wow, I'm so rusty. So bishop g6, knight takes, and then I take with h7, and then I have a nice open h-file to launch a huge attack down. That seems pretty good to me. So we're going to do that. Pre-move that. And that's the plan. And then now I definitely like black better. But yeah, you know, can't play any Scientology leaders, Catholic Church leaders, Jewish church leaders, Jewish church, what's the word for that? Pawn d4. I feel like I gotta just get castled, right? Take. Maybe I have a tactic on h2. That might work. No, I don't want to. I still am not castled. I can't do everything on the e-file. So my idea, actually, it's a pretty... Maybe I can take this pawn with the knight because I have this discovered check. So if I take... He can't actually take back because I have this in-between move with check, and then I win the queen, and then the game's pretty much over. So that's a nice little trick. He might not have enough time to figure this out. And he doesn't. Okay. So that's a nice little combo to get this done. And yeah, now it's a nice win. He can't go rook d1 because I could just take it. His knight on h4 is, I think the term is en prise, which is a fancy chess term for letting your opponent know that you are a giant douchebag. We could take that, and then I'll just get out of the check. And yeah, this is pretty much over. For, you know, lower rated people, it's not over. There's only 2 minutes left, but he's just hanging a lot of pieces now. And with that check, I can also pick up this rook on e6. So let's go ahead and do that. So yeah, we're back to playing chess. You know, we're trying to not get in trouble with any major religions. anymore, and then hopefully, let's take this, some more developments can happen. And I think this is checkmate in just a couple of moves. So yeah, he resigns. Okay, well, thanks for the game. If any of you want to play me, feel free to send me a challenge, or hey, 100 rated games, wow. Um, Send me a challenge or a message, as long as you're not saying you're gonna sleep with my wife or anything like that. Yeah, it seems like a pretty even game for the first couple of maybe 10, 15 moves. Maybe I'll learn something in this opening aside from my anti priest bullshit.